Hello and greetings. This is Train Time, the podcast, and it really is train time, even here in the United States. I'm Karen Christensen, and I started the Train Campaign, a project of the Barrington Institute, in 2011. I began recording interviews with politicians and train activists in 2017, most in the U.S., but sometimes looking to projects in other parts of the world. I hope you'll subscribe to Train Time and also send me your questions and suggestions. And visit our YouTube channel, Train Campaign, for some great interviews and amazing historical footage. I'm your host, Karen Christensen, and today we're going to talk about the potential for a Canaan, Connecticut to Pittsfield, Massachusetts train service. Think about it, Tanglewood or Barrington stage by train. Jump aboard. This is an idea I've been talking about for several years, and it's actually a stepping stone to full restoration of the Berkshire Line between Pittsfield and New York City. Why don't we start a daily passenger service between Pittsfield and Canaan, Connecticut? Canaan is a small town with a wonderful station just a couple miles south of the state line. It's a historic rail hub, and there's a real possibility that we could have a battery-powered electric train service via Sheffield, Great Barrington, Stockbridge, Lee, and Lenox, the stops to be determined, running every day of the year. Pop-Up Metro is a company in Pennsylvania that aims to provide a reliable, low-cost, and sustainable way to prove the market for a passenger train service. Sounds good, doesn't it? I visited them a couple years ago to see their equipment, and actually you can see some photos of the train equipment and one of their platforms if you go to traintime at substack.com, and you'll find the written letter with a lot of links there. I even got to drive a train when I was in Pennsylvania because it was on their track, not on a public track. And I have to thank our longtime supporter, Andrew Jennings, because he was the one who noticed the news story about Pop-Up Metro and realized that there were possibilities for us because their trains, their equipment, have a battery range, their electric trains, a battery range of 50 to 60 miles with an 8 to 10 minute charge at the end of each journey. You can easily imagine this. This is like an electric mower. You charge the battery for a while and then you take off again. And our line is really just ideal. The Canaan-Pittsfield route is just a little under 40 miles on an upgraded rail line. It's upgraded per MassDOT reporting. And here are the details. MassDOT, or Massachusetts Department of Transportation, what they reported was the rehabilitation of 4 grade crossings, replacement of 45,000 ties over the entire 36 miles that's down to the state line, 3 bridges replaced and 3 other bridges repaired, replacement of jointed rail throughout with continuous welded rail. That's over $50 million spent by taxpayers to improve the rail line in Berkshire County. It could support passenger service today. We would place charging stations at either end and could run trains daily throughout the year, with more during busy seasons and fewer during quiet months, but always offering reliable transportation to commuters and year-round residents. Would there be riders? No study has ever been done. The report commissioned years ago looked only at trips to and from New York City, not at any regional use at all. But car traffic is a good indicator. Connecticut folk who live in the towns south of Canaan drive through Canaan all the time to get to the Berkshires. They come to Great Barrington to shop at Guido's, go to the restaurants and the movies. They drive on to Stockbridge and Lenox for theater and music, and further north to Barrington Stage and Jacob's Pillow. Wouldn't they love the option of taking the train? Year-round, there are people who live in less expensive towns who commute to work in Stockbridge and Great Barrington. And of course, many medical and other professionals commute to Pittsfield. There's the issue of summer traffic. This comes up every time I talk about the train line. Route 7 is a 2-lane highway that goes through the center of our towns, and everyone agrees vehemently that it's a nightmare in the summer and fall. Why not take the train? As Train Time supporter Elijah Doubleday wrote, many New Yorkers that travel to Berkshire County seek the cultural amenities of South County. This includes the densely developed communities of Great Barrington, Stockbridge, and Lee. Each of these towns has an existing centralized train station on a shared MassDOT-owned rail line connected to Pittsfield, as well as enthusiasm for rail service connections. The train stations may not be perfect, but station improvements should not withhold train service, given the condition of many operational Amtrak stations. And a little further along, I'll give you a bit about what Pop-Up Metro is able to do in the case of a station that is not perfect. That is, we don't need to think about spending masses of money, the usual millions and millions of dollars, new stations. Having a passenger rail line in operation, as I think everyone can see, would be a game changer here. It would be a test, a trial, and it would also encourage Connecticut to step up and deal with the stretch of line south of Canaan that really needs an upgrade comparable to the one we've had here in order to have the full service that we're looking for from Pittsfield to New York City. And it's not impossible. We need support. The current Connecticut rail plan says that their DOT will study the feasibility of expanded rail service and that they plan to update travel patterns for post-COVID. Governor Lamont seems to want to emphasize transportation expansion. That should clearly, to my mind, include an upgrade of the line between New Milford and Canaan. We'll write soon about how subscribers and supporters can lobby Connecticut and ask them to make sure that the segment of rail line in Connecticut is upgraded to match the line in Massachusetts. The necessary upgrade work would be very similar. It's a similar length of track in the same region of the country, very similar terrain. So it should be easy to estimate the costs, which are, compared to other infrastructure projects, exceedingly modest and offer an excellent return on investment. We'll put in the show links a little bit more about Pop-Up Metro, and we look forward to comments. A few details they did send us. They say that where there are not legacy platforms or stations in good repair, Pop-Up Metro is prepared to provide modular platforms. These structures are ADA compliant, are very robust with an ability to support bariatric wheelchairs, and can be equipped with covers, seating, radiant heating, landscaping accents, and other appurtenances. The Pop-Up Metro Class 230 battery trains were remanufactured from London's District Line D trains. They are approved to operate up to 62 miles per hour. I have been told that on the upgraded Massachusetts track, trains could go faster, but that the legal limit is 59 miles per hour, which is generally considered a very reasonable speed in the United States anyway for passenger trains. And there would obviously be some work to ensure safety on the line because there are a couple of freight trains a day, but that is a common occurrence, and joint passenger freight corridors require robust operating and dispatch rules and positive modal barriers, such as electric lock switches or derails. All these things are things that other people have dealt with in this country and abroad, and are very much within the realm of really immediate action and implementation. We look forward to comments, and we'll be sharing more news as things develop. Thanks for joining me at Train Time. Don't forget to subscribe. Send me your suggestions for future shows, and visit our YouTube channel, Train Campaign, for some great interviews and amazing historical footage, including bit from the documentary The Last Train to Pittsfield, filmed in 1971.